McDonald.
YouTube family, what happens when a 22-year-old pregnant woman in Lakeland, Florida decides to throw a tantrum when a local McDonald's gets her order wrong? Well, for starters, the local sheriff unloads a full clip of McDonald's jokes, and I, yours truly, make a YouTube video using the whole ordeal as a teachable moment and demonstrating the number of ways that this behavior was way out of pocket. That video, McTantrum, can be found right here, and I'll leave a link to the video in the description down below. But today, I want to follow up the last video with a bit more context, a bit more information, and some updates from the last couple of months regarding this case. So let's start by taking a look at yet another update from Fox 13 in Tampa Bay, Florida, and I'll periodically pause just to add context to the video and to the case. You ready? Let's go.
We all know that Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd sheriff is known for
Man,
going
Grady
after suspects
Judd.
with a vengeance. Well, tonight the tables have turned. An attorney for the woman right there who was arrested after she tore up a Lakeland McDonald's is calling him out. Fox 13's Ken Suarez is live at the restaurant on Memorial Boulevard. That's where this whole thing began. So what's going on and what can you tell us?
Well, let's start with a refresher course. A week ago tonight, I stood right here and told you how the lady basically created all kinds of havoc at the McDonald's right back there when they messed up her order.
All right, real quick, we're going to pause right here because there's something that I want to cover. Some details left out of the first video is the actual drive-through order on the date of the incident, which was May 19th, 2022. I was able to comb through the whole Polk County Sheriff press conference, and here is the drive-through order that started this whole ordeal.
She had ordered fish fillet, a Happy Meal with a chocolate shake, a sweet tea, and a Sprite.
That's it. Now, me personally, I don't see anything particularly wrong or complicated with this order. Listen, I'm gonna be honest though, I do have a vendetta against Filet-O-Fish sandwiches. Let me explain. The same people who order Filet-O-Fish sandwiches are the exact same people who make sure you smell every bite that they just ate by talking as much as possible and as close to your face as possible. Now, she also got a McDonald's Sprite. McDonald's Sprite is strong enough to turn a boy into a man. You can remove your fingerprints by dipping them in McDonald's Sprite. So the Filet-O-Fish sandwich might not be that bad because McDonald's Sprite will wash every sin from that fish sandwich. Yo, McDonald's Sprite can dissolve a corpse in 20 seconds, so I'm sure it can strip your tongue of that fish market smell.
Bottom line is that the sheriff in no uncertain terms called her out and pointed the finger directly at her. Now her attorney is pointing it right back at him. The surveillance video from McDonald's went viral. The world watched as Tianis Jones flung bottles off the counter, smashed through piles of cups, then twerked her way out the door. They also heard Sheriff Grady Judd size it all up.
I don't know what was wrong with her that night. I don't know if she was like 2 fries short of a Happy Meal. Or maybe it was she was short of the Happy Meal completely.
Doing too much, man.
But she created a McMess. And she acted like a McNut.
Jones, her mom, attorney, and supporters just spoke out in front of the Polk County Courthouse in Bartow.
They should have went into more detail about the story and like investigated the story before they let out any footage or any videos to the public.
Oh, pause. Hold on. Oh, they definitely investigated. Let me tell you that right now. Look, man, there are harsh realities that come with being an adult. You can't escape them. You have more responsibilities and you have more to lose. And the consequences for your actions are much more harsh and costly than they were when you were a child or adolescent. It's just the way it is. The harsh reality is this. Her actions were recorded because there are cameras almost everywhere nowadays that document our actions in public. And the Polk County Sheriff's Department likely did their investigation by reviewing the 911 call, by reviewing the McDonald's footage, and by also speaking with the McDonald's manager and employees, in addition to speaking with other potential witnesses, including the sister who was there in the store with her, and the mother who were with her in the car, who also cooperated with the investigation. Don't believe me? Check this out.
Her mother was in the parking lot. Her sister was in the parking lot. Her mother and sister were totally cooperative. They were mortified about the entire event.
Now, Sheriff Grady Judd's whole press conference can be found at the link below. Let's continue.
Jones' attorney defended what she did by saying the young woman suffers from depression and is bipolar. He says Judd's characterization of her could have far-reaching consequences.
His unprofessional and dangerous comments stand to taint any potential jury pool that Ms. Tianis could potentially have in this case.
Our YouTube family, quick disclaimer. I'm not an attorney, nor do I play one on television. I know where my lane is, and I know when to stay in it. Now that that's out the way, this is where I step in because I actually watched the entire 30-minute press conference. It was about 20 minutes too long for my taste, but that's beside the point.
It's been 84 years.
Now, it appears the attorney tried to humanize his client and portray her as a victim by talking about her life and her hardships and her struggles with mental illness in an attempt to counter Sheriff Grady Judd from, quote, tainting any potential jury pool, unquote. So basically, it sounds like the attorney believes that Sheriff Grady Judd's jokes and comments were insensitive and dangerous to his client and unprofessional. He also claimed that the local McDonald's would not give her a refund, as stated by the sheriff, and that the local McDonald's stole her money, which is something that facilitated the 911 call. Here's a clip from the press conference.
So she went inside to figure out what the problem was. The employees did not give her a refund, did not want to give her her food, and Tianis caused havoc in the store. She eventually got her refund and she left the store immediately. She was owed her money. The employees at McDonald's stole her money and would not give it back. There was never an online order. She ordered at the drive-thru. There was never any refund issued or them saying that they would issue a refund. The refund didn't come until after Tianis had to tear up the McDonald's.
What the hell you say?
So I want to bring it back because we have to remember something. This young brother is an attorney and his job is to support and defend his client and possibly get some of her charges reduced or dropped altogether. So he's going to do what he's supposed to do. Lawyers are going to lawyer after all. His job is not to schedule a press conference to hold her accountable for her actions and to get her to admit guilt. Part of his job is to improve the public image of his client, which is something we see him attempting to do here. Now, with that being said, I'm of the opinion that Sheriff Judd may be law enforcement, but he's not the feelings police or a mental health professional. That's just not what he's trained to do. He could have had the most professional press conference free of any and all McDonald's puns, but her behavior that was captured on camera and the 911 call that, by the way, were both aired and shown on local news channels and on the internet are way more likely to, quote, taint a possible jury pool, unquote, than the sheriff's jokes. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. All right, now let's fast forward to talk about the part where the attorney talks about his client's mental illness. Here's the actual clip for context.
Tianis Jones has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. So everything that she had been going through, the weight of the world on her shoulders and taking care of her family and having to deal with the issues that she was dealing with at McDonald's, she snapped. Miss Tianis Jones has that mental health illness. She has medication that she's not taking because she's pregnant.
So apparently this young woman has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Depression is a part of bipolar disorder, so that's why I won't say she's also been diagnosed with depression or major depressive disorder or MDD, as if it is a separate diagnosis. Bipolar disorder is characterized by mood swings of major depression and mania or hypomania that can last for many days or weeks. I'll do another video series on bipolar disorder in the near future, but it's also important to note that within the criteria, psychiatric disorders manifest differently in terms of nature, duration, and intensity of symptoms with different people. So the bigger question is this: does having a mental illness justify this young woman's behavior? And the answer is no. No, it doesn't. As I said in the previous video, what it does is it gives us a glimpse at the why regarding her behavior, which will likely come up in court, but it does not justify her behavior at all.
Judge accuses McClymont of being a publicity hound.
He's got an opportunity to get a lot of free publicity.
McClymont says the same about him.
Someone who is looking for an opportunity to make headlines, looking for an opportunity to go viral, looking for an opportunity to keep his name relevant.
Dr. Clayton Coward agrees.
No,
wants to be a Mac
don't do this.
movie star.
Stop it.
He spends
Stop
too
it.
much Mac time in the
Stop
camera.
it.
greatest statements about mental illness was McTantrum.
Oh my God.
Judd's reaction?
But would you change anything you said back in that original press conference?
McNo.
So essentially this comes down to a war of words back and forth, back and forth. I asked the attorney for Ms. Jones, are you going to sue the sheriff? He said no. All I want to do is get my message out there loud and clear, and that's something that Grady does all the time. Back to you.
Yeah, and he's not disputing what happened and what she was charged with, it sounds like.
I hope not.
Not really. I mean, well, she's charged with felony, so that'll probably, if I can look into the future, probably be knocked down. But he's saying why, and then the way it was kind of blown up, in his words, by the sheriff, that's what he has a problem with.
Yeah, you can't excuse that behavior.
Thank you, Ken Suarez.
All right, YouTube family. So apparently she was charged with burglary with assault and battery, which apparently is a felony, criminal mischief, disorderly conduct, and misusing 911 or the emergency 911 system. And while there's definitely information that we can see with our very own eyes and ears, such as the video footage and audio from the 911 call, there's some conflicting information from both sides. Hopefully that will get sorted out, and the only way we'll get real answers is for this young woman to have her day in court. But I gotta be honest, something tells me to more heavily rely on Sheriff Judd's account of the McTantrum, because the attorney for Ms. Jones is not looking to sue the sheriff, nor is he disputing the major parts of the story that led to the charges. The bottom line is that her background, her current circumstances, mental illness, and social emotional status are not, I repeat, not an excuse for her behavior, nor do they excuse her from facing the consequences of her actions. They don't, especially as an adult. Listen, man, hopefully this whole ordeal will be a pivotal point in her life that prompts her to make some serious changes. I sincerely hope for the sake of her children that she's able to turn things around and become better than who we saw in the twerk video. But it has to start with accountability and putting in the work to be a better person. YouTube family, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a thing or two. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share, and comment. Why? Because I want to know what you think about this story now that we have a bit more information to work with. Me personally, I'll be keeping up with this story over the course of the next few months, so stay tuned for updates and other content here on my channel. Until next time, make sure you take care of yourselves and take care of one another. Peace.